Hello folks, Jason Chrisman, Grazing Acres Farm. I just wanted to do a real quick video on the freeze miser. We're sitting at about 31 degrees today, and that is pretty much our high for today. Overnight we're going to get down to 18. So I have installed a freeze miser right here, and the way it works is my incoming hose from the spigot's right here. Then I have a splitter. One side of the splitter goes to the freeze miser, the other side goes down and around to my stock tank, which is slightly dripping. Normally I would fix the drip, but I see the drip as a benefit. It's going to keep the water in circulation and hopefully keep any freezing from happening. One downside to the freeze miser, I've been told by a friend that he didn't like how much water it released on the ground, so that's something I will be noting. I have unhooked the calf tank from my split. I do use the Job topaz valve. Normally in the winter I'll move it to the top of the tank so it's not sitting down in the cold water. I have yet to do that because I didn't figure mid-November it would get this cold, but here we are. So topaz valve is still on the bottom. What I did was I just tipped the tank over and I opened the dribble feature, or the trickle feature, on top of the valve, which lets the water continuously trickle, and yes, this will overflow. So you can kind of see right here where I dumped the water. We'll get a good look at that because tomorrow this is going to be overflowing, and we're also going to have the release from the freeze miser coming here on the ground. So we want to take a special note to the way the ground looks here and the way the ground looks here. Now, this pasture is our 7-11 pasture, or that's what we call it, and there's really not much of a wind block. Let me walk up here on the hill a little bit. So you can see the herd all grazing. The neighboring farmer's got his herd out over there on the other side of the fence, but there's not really any wind block. The wind comes from that direction and blows right straight across this field. So this is one I always have trouble with, stock tanks freezing. One second here. So this is an area I have problems with stock tanks freezing. So we'll see if the Job topaz valve will hold up. Well, it's been 24 hours. We didn't quite get down to 18 degrees as expected, but we did make it down to 21. But it looks like we've still got water. Look, it's still dripping. And I don't look. You see that water running out of the freeze miser? The way the instructions say it works is once the temperature gets below 37, the water temperature, the freeze miser will open and release some water. It'll trickle the water until the water temperature is above 37 degrees, and then it will stop the dripping. So the reason they picked 37 degrees, and I've learned this from watching a couple of videos, is to allow room for your water hose. They want to be able to control any of that from freezing. So they've set it to 37 degrees for it to open up. And you can see it's working quite well. Now, just as a little test here, let me take my glove off. Oh yeah, I can hear the float. It's working, folks. It's supposed to be even colder tomorrow morning, so I think what I'll do is I'll continue this video over to tomorrow and we'll see how well it holds up. But so far, super happy. All right, 48 hours later, and wow, what a mess. Got a constant trickle here. I did note the temperature though before I left to come up here. I checked on my phone and it did say 18 degrees. So we did get colder last night. We still got a drip down here on the hose. And we've pretty much got a constant stream flowing out right there. Let's check the hose. The hose is still good and pliable. No cracking noises. Now this top layer here does seem to be hard. You wanting to get in there, aren't you, girl? It's not super thick. Okay, I'm not really looking forward to this, but I want to stick my hand in there and push down on that float to see if it'll let water in. And yes, I do hear the float. Now look, there's the overflow from the float kicking on. So, we do have a nice ice patch starting on this side, downhill. So I can see this setup being ideal if you've got a fence line to place this setup on. And maybe on the far side of the fence line is where you have this ice patch come out. So you'd probably want the fence line to be on a hill and a downside to the hill so that you can get this water to run away from the stock tank and not be where your cows are standing. But it did work, folks. And from here we've got a warm-up coming. So the first attempt at using the freeze miser did show that it does work. Going to have a little bit of a mess with some ice and some water, but it does work. I mean, this hose has laid on the ground all night, 18 degrees, and look how flexible it is. There's no cracking of ice in it. It's amazing. So that's my short introduction or review to the freeze miser. Definitely is working. With this water constantly trickling out the way it is, it tells me that the water temperature is right around the 37 degree mark. Anyway, folks, got any questions or comments on the freeze miser? I'd be glad to answer the ones I can help with. So the freeze miser, this isn't its only application. There's numerous applications. Let's say you're one of those people that like to manually water every day and you use a water hose that's hooked to an outdoor spigot. You can leave that water hose turned on and put this on the end of your garden hose and it will not freeze. You could also just screw this on a spigot on the outside of your house, open the spigot, and always have water when you need it. It will not freeze. So there's several different uses for this freeze miser. And for my application, it looks like it's going to be pretty handy to have in the toolbox. I'm going to leave a link down in my video description for a freeze miser. I'm going to go ahead and tell you these cost $30 a piece, or right about at $30 a piece. And well, if you ask me, it's well worth the investment if you've ever chipped ice off of a stock tank and know what that's like. Not only is it cold, but it's a job. So you can save your time and your effort and keep warm if you install a freeze miser. Something to think about there. I'm definitely going to be putting this into use. Long term, on a long cold spell, or a nice long cold spell, like I mentioned, you would probably want this to be on the opposite side of the fence so you're not creating an ice patch for the cows to stand in. I will be doing some more experimenting with this, and I'll also be sharing my winter stock tank setup here in the next couple weeks. It's time now that I need to start thinking about transitioning from the summer stock tank over to my winter setup. So I need to get that prepared, and when I do, I'll share it with you kind folks. So hope you enjoyed this video. If so, smash that thumbs up down below, and if you haven't subscribed, please take a second to do so. We'll see you in the next video, folks. Take care.